I am excited about this week's show, Crocodile Dundee. I'm chatting with Delvene Delaney.
Hubba.
The films of 1992.
Phantom Tollbooth versus Tron.
Wow. Boneheads and recommendations and heaps more. What is going on, everybody? Hello and welcome to Good Movie Monday. We are the weekly podcast dedicated to nerdy cinematic ramblings. Another week, we're going to do it all over again. I'm Glenn Cochran. He's Ben Hellwig. You're going to say your own name, Ben.
I was.
That would be a first. We've never done it that way.
I'm not really sure what it is. So that's why I never say it.
I had it written down. I was going to say the big hunk of love beside me is Ben Hellwig, and I just powered through it. I forgot to say it, but there we go. Welcome, and we'll get the formalities out of the way. Go to goodmoviemonday.com and follow the link to all of our social medias. You can go through all of our previous episodes and all the interviews we've done in the past. Heaps of stuff for you to get into. We're in for a good show this week, Ben.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. As I said, Delvene Delaney.
Yeah.
And she's also joined by Victoria Baldock as well, they produced the Crocodile Dundee Encore Cut. They both directed the Love of an Icon documentary that is going into the physical media release. It also screened nationally a few months ago. So really good conversation to be had about that. Mm. Good old Crocodile Dundee. It's great to see him back on the big screen. So awesome. And all the usual stuff is, the Boneheads are coming up and we're going to have some recommendations and all that.
I think Space Cat is back.
Space Cat is back. Yeah, I'm kind of liking Space Cat.
I like Space Cat.
It gave me an option.
Space Cat just became a proper professor. So he's even...
We might completely quadruple our fellowship if we just present as Space Cats.
As cats, yeah.
That's right.
And then we can put the hashtag cat video on all our posts, and all of a sudden people will actually watch and listen to us.
We still can.
We should just do it.
Yeah, I will. Hey, you've been put through the ringer in the last week.
Oh, have I what?
Damn, son. That? You've missed screenings and I
missed, 2 screenings?
Yep.
Yeah, throughout. This is the fun thing of when you get old. So I threw out my back on Monday, or technically Sunday, but I didn't feel the effects until Monday. Mm-hmm. And it was incredibly bad. It was comic, TV bad.
Oh.
And then I
feel like everything you do is comically TV bad.
Yeah.
Like when you fell off the toilet that time into your shower.
What a nightmare that was. People don't believe, they just thought I didn't want to go to Brisbane. And it was not the case at all.
Too elaborate an excuse.
Yeah, and if I was going to make up a story, about an injury, I wouldn't say I did it getting off the toilet.
You didn't even have to do that. You didn't have to tell anybody.
I didn't have to do it. No, I just for fun. But you know what happens when you get old and you have a back injury? To compensate, you move differently.
Yeah.
Then what happens is the injury recovers, and then your back is sore again because you're moving differently from what you were normally doing. So this morning, I legitimately thought I had a kidney stone, but I could move. I could actually get into a position where I wasn't in pain. So I'm like, well, it's definitely not a kidney stone. But then I also had to have a crown replaced.
Far out.
And the dentist literally, she had to get out a hammer like a chisel to get the crown out.
I've been there. It's not fun.
It's not enjoyable at all.
I had my my jawbone sawed away to get a molar out. I was like a specimen at the zoo because all these dentists came in because I was told I was an exceptional case, and they're all just I'm looking up at there's 5 dentists staring at me going we've never seen this before.
Yeah,
such an oddity. But, yeah, so no, I relate, mate. But it is a shame that you missed some screenings.
I did.
Anyway.
My jaw still hurts.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. It's still swollen.
You got your mouth around that sandwich I gave you before.
I still can't chew. I'm still not chewing on that side of the mouth, though.
So you only experienced half the sandwich, really?
Yeah, that's right.
Wow. Anyway. Hey, here's something unexpected I read last Friday. This is so odd. So M. Night Shyamalan is teaming up with somebody.
Tarsem?
Nope.
No.
Who like just I mean, there's a whole universe of names out there that you could pick, but if M. Night Shyamalan was going to I'll make it easier. He's going to team up with one author to not only have a book written, a novel, and he's going to adapt the movie, but they're coming up with a story together. Which author would you guess?
George R. Martin.
No. Have one more guess. A very prolific one. You've enjoyed some of his adaptations.
Ooh. What's that going to be? Ooh. No. John Grisham?
No. Nicholas Sparks.
Nicholas Sparks? Yeah. I never would have thought of that.
No. So they're coming up with a movie called Remain. It's going to be a novel and a movie, and they've come up with it together. They're conceiving it from scratch. And
are you sure it's not Remains?
No, I think it's Remain.
That's a shame. Yeah. I'd like to see Nicholas Sparks do a movie called Remains. Yeah. It's about a man who falls in love with a corpse.
Well, or it's just like it's a crossover to all the other novels, and it's the corpses of all the other characters.
All the other characters.
They all eventually die. So anyway, I wanted to end our intro on that. I thought that was quite weird. And no one else seems to be talking about it.
No, that is odd.
Maybe by Monday they will. I don't know.
Now.
Yeah.
We are taste makers and conversation starters.
It's Terrific TV Tuesday, the only Tuesday TV segment that drops on a Monday.
What have you been watching on the box this week, mate?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Absolutely nothing. I was so
Wow.
I was so disappointed with myself. I didn't have time to watch anything new. So everything
I was going to
watched,
say, you've definitely been watching stuff.
yeah, but what I've been watching, I've talked about before on the show,
Yeah.
or it's not really worth any kind of conversation. But so what I've done, I came across a photo the other day, and I just wanted to have a conversation about it and the other photos that might exist like it. So it was a photo of Jessica Fletcher and Magnum PI.
Yep, because they did a crossover episode.
They did a crossover episode. So I wanted to sort of talk about some popular or sort of obscure crossover episodes throughout television history.
Yeah.
And I've written a whole bunch down. But off the top of your head, can you think of many? Like, I mean, yeah, I've got the advantage because I've written them down here. But they're not in front of me right at this point in time. And I can't recall many of them. But I do remember Golden Girls crossed over with Empty Nest because that was a spin-off show.
That was a spin-off, yeah.
It crossed over with Nurses, which was another sitcom.
Star Trek Lower Decks, the cartoon show, has crossed over with Star Trek Brave New World.
Yeah.
And it's Jack Quaid.
Oh wow!
I'm pretty sure it's Jack Quaid is the kind of main character that kind of crosses over.
And of course, you've got all of those like big sort of NCSI and CIS or whatever the bloody hell.
Yeah,
all the Chicago series, all that franchise stuff.
Yeah, the Homicide: Life on the Street actually crosses over with SVU, Law and Order SVU, because the character Detective Much goes from Homicide
goes across
to the other one. It's the what's his name? That stand-up comedian, Richard Belzer.
Yeah, Richard Belzer, who passed away most recently. And X-Files crossed with Millennium, and that was fascinating. Sometimes they're a bit of a Kickstarter to a show, like. They do the crossover so they can launch a show. Like, because what happened with The Critic and The Simpsons? Yeah. They did that, and Matt Groening was completely furious about it. He doesn't endorse it. I think his name is removed from the episode. It was Fox's insistence that they do it.
They do it. It's a great episode.
It's a fantastic episode.
I mean, all the depictions of Matt Groening on The Simpsons make him out to be a grumpy old cunt.
I know. And I believe The Critic's coming back for a second run.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, which is awesome. Gotta love some love it. Mad About You and Friends, Mad About You and Seinfeld, Full House, Family Matters.
Yeah. Family Matters, Die Hard. And
Carl Winslow.
There's another one that he's in as well.
Yeah. Crocodile Dundee.
Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah.
No.
What are the odds? What tribe are you from?
But I
ain't from no tribe.
He's the same character because the whole thing is that he's the same character, but he's the same character in something else. He's the cop.
Yeah.
In Die Hard and in Family Matters and
something else.
Something else. If only we had the internet.
Full House. Because they did a crossover.
Did they?
Yeah. What else have I got down here? So Golden Girls, Empty Nest, and Blossom. They did a crossover with Blossom. Different Strokes, Facts of Life. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Different Strokes.
Really?
Yeah, it was like past the finale. Characters came back. I think Mr. Drummond and someone, maybe Arnold,
Right.
came back as their characters. The same way Elise Keaton from Family Ties rocked up in some new show. I can't remember what it was, but like it was
Right. Playing a...
like 2 or 3 years ago, I think.
Yeah, right.
What else? Happy Days, Mork and Mindy, obviously. Buffy, Angel. Alf and Gilligan's Island.
Yes.
I remember that. Bones and Sleepy Hollow.
Well, Alf and Gilligan's Island and the Harlem Globetrotters.
Yeah, that's right. That's not a crossover. That's like an actual team.
Yeah.
Special guests. Cheers and Sent Elsewhere.
Yeah, right.
Back in the day. Ally McBeal, The Practice. I remember that one.
Yeah.
I remember that one. How to Get Away with Murder and Scandal.
Yeah.
And possibly my favourite one, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers.
Yeah, that I do not remember.
Yeah, it was, remember the live action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles show?
Yeah.
Yeah, them and the Power Rangers. Perfect. Perfect. So that is what happens when I don't watch anything new and I've got nothing else to talk about. But off the top of my head, I maybe came up with 5 of those and then had to go to the internet to find more.
To find the rest?
Yeah, but Jessica Fletcher and Magnum P.I., what a crazy combo.
It's a great episode too. A great double episode.
I can't remember what it's called.
Because they would do there's a Magnum episode and a Murder She Wrote episode.
There's 2 crossovers.
So there's
The problem with a lot of the crossovers, particularly when they did it with Buffy and Angel, was then it became like chronological, in sync.
Yeah.
And so you had to keep up if you're watching it on home video and you've gone too far on one series and you're like, shit.
Yeah, and then they pop up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, that you can now have a go at it. That was all I got. Really.
Well,
Let us know in the comments if you can think of any more.
I unfortunately, because of my back issues, I actually really struggled to watch. I just couldn't watch a movie. Like I just wasn't in a position where I could sit still long enough. But I did manage to binge TV shows, which is really weird. But in between, like the end of the episode or halfway through the episode, I would just get up and have to walk around for a bit until I couldn't, and then
you could pause movies and do that.
I could,
too.
yeah, no, that's wrong. That's incorrect, sir. So I did, catch up on seasons 3 and 4 of Slow Horses.
Oh yeah, the Gary Oldman show.
Gary Oldman show, Chris and Scott Thomas.
Is that good? Because
it's fucking great.
Because I've been meaning to watch it and just haven't got to it.
Gary Oldman's, it's the best character that Gary Oldman's ever got to play, and he was in Tippy Toes.
Yeah, right.
And he's just he's a burnout. Like he was one of the best agents that MI5 ever had, but he kind of burnt out.
Yeah.
And so now he's stuck in Slough House, which is where all of the agents who fuck up are kind of, they haven't fucked up bad enough to get fired, but they're the alcoholics or they're itinerant gamblers or they're itinerant or they're emotionally damaged. They're suffering from PSD, whatever it is.
Yeah.
They get shuffled off to Slough House, which is where they all of the, and he does not in any way give them he doesn't let them. He constantly is calling them shit.
Yeah, right.
And like they're the worst of the worst. And he's like this. He's fat and dirty,
cynical,
totally cynical.
Yeah.
He's a drunk. He eats poorly. He smokes. He farts.
Love it.
You know, at one point he has to go see the doctor, and the people in the waiting room are like, "Oh, there's a homeless person. Is he allowed to be in here?" It's great. It's so good. If you have not seen it, I can't recommend it enough.
All
and
right.
season 5 is supposedly coming very soon. They did a great thing on the Late Night with Stephen Colbert.
I saw it.
The fart thing. Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna have to get behind it.
But I also caught up with the first 2 episodes of Mobland.
Yeah, right. Another one, once again, that I will get into. I don't like these particular shows, like mob shows, but some of them, if they got a good hook, they'll get me.
Well, this is interesting because this is the second it's executive produced by Guy Ritchie.
Yeah.
And it's considering that there's the Gentleman TV show, which is waiting on its 2nd season as well, which that's much more of a tongue-in-cheek, fun, kind of take on the whole kind of gangster genre. Mobland is much more serious. Yeah. But it's Tom Hardy, Pierce Brosnan, Helen Mirren, Paddy Considine, Jeff Bell, who is like, once you see Jeff Bell, you're like, this guy's in every fucking gangster
Yeah.
thing ever. It's a lot darker, but it's still pretty bloody good. Like I put off watching. It was Matt O'Neill kind of was nudged me in the direction. He's like,
He's nudged you in a few directions.
give it a go, and
Excellent.
I'm glad I did. Definitely, that's also definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, cool. As Jarrett pointed out on last week's show, Guy Ritchie's just like slaying it at the moment. His new film is probably my most anticipated in a long time, The Fountain of Youth. It's a new Indiana Jones style adventure with Natalie Portman and John Krasinski and a few others. And
Yeah, right.
really keen because like I'm always craving like an alternative to Indiana Jones, and just find myself going back to either Indiana Jones or National Treasure.
Yeah, why are they? I mean, look, he's passed away now,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But why haven't they made another Alan Quartermain?
Well, they had planned to, and I guess they just didn't make enough money off those first two.
Yeah. Oh, well, it's Golden Globus.
Yeah, that's right. Whole other thing. Why didn't they just like reboot like another studio get the Alan Quartermain?
But you
property?
can't. I guess you can't. Alan Quartermain, because the thing with Alan Quartermain, I mean, they kind of did in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, but because he's a white hunter and
a racist, and
yeah,
all
the
this kind
subcontinent.
Of things. Yeah.
I mean, he's it's just fraught with danger. Whereas Indiana Jones, he fights Nazis. No one has a problem with Nazis as the bad guys.
Just come up with a new character that does similar things. Like that's all. Like that's
there's no reason. Did. There's no reason why Alan Quartermain can't fight Nazis.
Well, that's right. Because then you'd get the purists saying, "Oh, but there's books that you could base this on. Why are you doing new stories and whatever?" Just reboot Indiana Jones with the younger actor, do new adventures because there's so many books you could base that on.
Yeah.
Go for it. I do have something I'm going to watch within the next week, so I'll have something for next week to talk about.
Lovely.
Yo, the Glizzle and the Bizzle are in the house to drop a new Enter Bizzle, so sit back and enjoy their latest Snizzle My Nizzle, whatever the fuck that means.
Mick Dundee is back, and Crocodile Dundee has never looked better, Ben. Never looked better. The new Encore Cut is magnificent and like just such a beautiful presentation of the film. It is currently in cinema, so if you get a chance to go and see it on the big screen, I highly recommend it.
Definitely worthwhile.
Yeah, for sure. And as I said, it's been supplemented with this amazing documentary, Love of an Icon. What's the subtitle? Love of an Icon, the Legend of Mick Dundee or Crocodile Dundee. Both well worth a look. And in a couple of months, I think late July, that Encore Cut is going to come out on 4K and Blu-ray, and that documentary will be included. But
it's one of those. It's one of those funny things, is that because usually when you watch a movie, so when was this? This is very early 80s, mid 80s.
This is 86.
86.
Yeah,
mid 80s. You watch them and you're like, this is an Australia that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
But you watch this one and you're like, well, no, it's pretty much the same.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. And look, this whole Encore Cut is to preserve the movie, like to really push it forward, into a new era. And there's been a lot of debate about it because the Encore Cut, we won't shy away from it. It does remove two jokes, which have not, they're insensitive and they've dated poorly. A lot of people don't agree with them being removed. I'm kind of one of them. Like I kind of would like the film intact. However, as you'll see in this conversation, the reasons for removing those are, it's not as black and white as what it seems. It's not just, woke. It is to prevent future TV networks from removing those scenes in a really barbaric way. Because they've been removing them for the past decade, apparently, overseas. And they've been cutting the entire scenes out as opposed to just the frames,
Yeah.
So when you watch the film, you wouldn't even notice those moments are gone, really. Like if you blink, you miss it type of thing. So they've done it really well. I'll let Delvene and Victoria talk about that themselves, but have a listen, a look at this interview. It's fantastic. It was a real highlight for me. I'm ashamed you missed it, mate. You had poor pooch problems.
Yeah, just having a really bad trot of it lately. One thing after the other.
We've set these interviews up for both of us to sit in on, and it's been a shame. But they were glad you weren't there. So.
Michael J. Crocodile Dundee.
Definitely no place for a city girl. When I go back, why don't you come with me? Make a great wrap to the story.
G'day. Mick Dundee from Australia. How are you?
I'm fine, how are you?
Down for a couple of days? Probably see you around.
Fine.
G'day.
Hello.
G'day. Well, if you can manage, Wal, I'd like to stay a while.
Wouldn't have anything to do with a certain lady writer, would it?
Your towel, Signor Me.
Truth.
You got a light, buddy? And your wallet.
He's got a knife.
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
I gotta talk to that man down the end. Tell him I love him.
How do you like your go in? Medium? Well done?
You having any?
Nah. Tastes like shit.
Well, firstly, it's a huge pleasure for me to be chatting with both of you. I grew up watching you, Delvene, and really chuffed to be having an opportunity to talk about this movie with you, and lovely to meet you too, Victoria.
Oh, thank you for having us.
How old are you, Glenn?
I'm 45.
Oh, what did you watch growing up?
Well, well, I did watch the Hogue Show with my grandparents all the time, and Sail of the Century.
Must have been 5.
I have a very, very good memory when it comes to film and television. It goes right back to when I was probably 2. That's how far back my memory goes.
That's impressive. I'll give you that.
Crocodile Dundee has never, ever looked so good. So congratulations. You've done a brilliant job restoring this one.
We can't really take the credit for that. That was done by Fix Film or the Granary in Canberra, who've restored quite a few other iconic Australian films. But luckily for us that they had, because that gave them the knowledge of what the green is in an Australian piece of grass as opposed to a European piece of grass, and how that the sunshine that emanates from the screen, you can almost feel it in your body. You know, and there's quite a different colour grade required for Australian films.
Particularly the outback too, the red earth and the blue skies. It's a really different colour that Europeans, you know, it's a different colour. So
yeah, for sure.
We were able to have the colour grade of such high quality done in Australia, because it would have been different if it was done elsewhere without that authenticity, and authenticity underpins Crocodile Dundee's message. So we got lucky.
100%. So you were riding shotgun all the way along the production of this? Like, were you there to make sure that every single frame was how it should be?
Well, we were at the end when we were colour grading, and we go to Canberra to look at the techie side of it.
Yeah.
To see, you know, how the laboratory handles the 200,000 individual frames that need careful restoration. And it was an intriguing process. I had no idea it would be so labour intensive, but it's an art form really to get it right.
Peter Richards, the director of the Fixer film now called The Granary, he actually had just done Picnic at Hanging Rock,
right,
which was Russell Boyd's masterpieces, of course. And Peter had often said that it was only because of doing that work that he felt comfortable saying yes to the huge sort of brief of restoring Crocodile Dundee. Obviously, it's a big job, but he felt very comfortable with Russell's work and Russell's vision. And what's really beautiful too is that it's almost like the technology of cinema has now caught up to the restoration technology is incredible. But now also the fact that the audience can see that at the other end, it's like for the first time you're really seeing what Russell Boyd's master cinematography, what he saw through that lens. It's very interesting.
Yeah, incredible. And did the looming anniversary sort of put pressure to get it done quicker?
Not really. It wasn't about the anniversary. It was about the fact that the film was deteriorating.
Yeah.
So it was it was future proofing. It had to be addressed, or we wouldn't have had a film. And that's where it started. But it's great that there's an anniversary looming.
Yeah, absolutely.
Terrific.
And Victoria, how did you become involved with the whole thing, like from the documentary to this restoration? Like,
well, Delvene and I met about 10 years ago, personally through the little my kids' primary school, and Delvene's grandchildren went there, and we worked together on a P&C committee, and pretty much went zung zung. I like the way you work. Let's do this. So it's wonderful. We have a really great friendship and a really great way to work. But professionally, I'd been a distributor for many, many years, media exec and airtime sales, and then distributor, and had my own distribution company for many years. So it's that sort of level of, we had a lot of contractual work to work through, considering the change marketplace of the rights that are in the contracts and things like that. And the deals that were done with Paramount, were incredible deals that John, as a mastermind, had done 40 years ago. But the market's changed a lot. So we really had to review a lot of things. And in that, and that's the thing, it really is, it's extraordinary the level of activity internationally that Crocodile Dundee still is licensed, and we needed to keep up with the tech specs of the new platforms. We needed to have that level of master, and we had masters, but they were home end masters, they were Blu-ray masters, they were the digital masters that we could allocate weren't the actual source.
Yep.
So, and obviously you can only restore from the source and scan in. So that was the decision to scan in at 6K, which was the highest resolution possible from the film stock, and do the 4K restoration.
Incredible. You can't believe everything you read, but I did read that it was Paramount that requested to have some of those poorly dated insensitivities removed from the film. What was your initial response to that? Personally, I was a bit reluctant, but the film just worked so well without them anyway, so it ended up not mattering. But what was your initial response to that?
Well, those scenes have been out. It wasn't just Paramount, but other distributors too.
Yeah.
Those scenes have been out for about 12 years internationally.
Right.
Were never addressed internally in Australia. And so it wasn't until we showed Paul a sample of the restoration that, we suggested, well, wouldn't it be a good opportunity now to re-release the film? Because look at the condition of it. It looks like it was shot yesterday. And he said, oh, there's a scene in there that I don't like. I said, I know that scene. I don't like it either, because that's not what a hero would do. Independent of the woke aspect, it's just not what a hero would do.
Yeah.
And so he said, oh, well, take it out. So we did, because the film was in the lab at the time. And it was like 2 minutes maybe.
Yeah, it's frames. It gets discussed as if it's scenes and a big scene, and it's not. It's literally a few frames of minute. It's a minute detail in the arc of the story. Obviously, the response for the second edit relates to that, but it had been taken out by distributors many years ago,
which we didn't know. We didn't know until the Channel 5 kerfuffle happened around New Year's, when
they broadcast at Christmas, and it was about the slot that they screened it in. So it was an early day. So of course the classification of that slot meant it was a children's slot.
Yep.
So the edits they had to make were a lot more significant. And it was just unfortunate timing for us that this has happened, because it really brought some discussion up, which for us, to be honest, really just indicates how much the audience love it and what it means to everybody. Because, it's everybody is really, it's their beloved Crocodile Dundee. But certainly, I mean, this is the thing also, it's a really standard practice for broadcasters to have the right to be able to make edits in any piece of content, film or television series, for compliance and censorship requirements for the territory.
Yep.
And it's not something generally that distributors are able to keep track of, because the broadcaster have the right to do it, and certainly not the IP owners. It doesn't usually travel back that far as to what those cuts would be. So, when you look internationally, there's territories where there may have been other cuts taken out that we didn't even know of. So, there was always a domestic version, an Australian version of Croc, and an international version, which was the American version. But from there, the language versions that have been over the period of 40 years, so we pretty much have had a complete refresh.
Yeah.
It's like now we've retired the previous unrestored version, and this is now Crocodile Dundee as it will continue to move into the future.
Yeah, I think it's a real testament to the film that it crosses generations. You've got people on either side so passionate about it one way or the other. Shows that it's got the longevity. I was not bothered by it whatsoever when I watched it. So
yeah.
No, we weren't, and lucky for us,
it's seamless.
No music had to come out, so it was just that little bit. Oh, and then that relates to that little bit, both little bits. So it was kind of fortunate in a way that kerfuffle happened with Channel 5, because it gave us the opportunity to go, oh, okay, that can happen. So now if we are writing contracts, it's like, well, don't show it in a kid's broadcast time slot where you have to take something out that we think is not worthy, that shouldn't come out.
Yep.
And if you have to do that, run it by us first, and we'll try to negotiate a good solution, because ultimately it's precious IP and we want to protect it and preserve it.
It's really that the Encore Cut then is the story is about the refresh and what it is, and you see the restoration reveal that's just incredible, comparing what the neg was with and obviously the state of the internet that was scanned is the state of every master that was being broadcast in Australia or around the world, because they were digitized versions. But certainly, and that was in the custodianship of the NFSA, the National Film Sound Archive in Australia. But that was already in that state to get there. So that had to be scanned correctly using the correct technology to ensure that master again can last another 40 years and beyond.
Yep, for sure. I'm so thrilled that this is happening. If I can, if I can take you right back to when the film was created in the first place. I'm a big fan of Australian cinema in general, but I love the Charles Chauvel, Chips Rafferty era from the 40s and 50s. Do you know if they played any kind of influence or inspiration to John and Paul when they were writing the film?
I doubt it. I think John and Paul are two of the most original thinkers I've ever met in my life. And I could never personally anticipate a reply for John if somebody asked me a question. Just like, don't ask me. I don't think like he does. And so I feel that, Mick Dundee, as Paul will admit, is just Hoag's in the bush.
Yeah.
And Hoag's is just this he's just quintessentially himself.
Mm-hmm.
I've just been reviewing a lot of the old Paul Hogan shows, and just for our legacy, and I look at some of those sketches and I think that's just early Mick. It's the same philosophy and the same attitude and the same disregard for authority. He's a larrikin.
Absolutely.
Same, and that's why those two guys, they were so instantly connected and deeply connected in terms of their values that I don't think they were ever seeking inspiration. I think inspiration came to them.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yep, that makes sense. I kind of imagine that every bloke in Australia wanted a mateship like theirs, like it was something that you want in your life, a muse
Definitely.
like that. Yeah, for sure.
Have you heard the Love of an Icon? Did you have a chance?
I did. I'm going to ask you about that as well. Like, I absolutely loved it. I'm big on, as I said, Australian cinema, but I love this era particularly. So yeah, and I love that it was a love letter to John more than anything, and that was just really touched me. So beautiful stuff for sure.
That's good. We like tough people.
In regards to Hoag's and this film, I feel like it'll be the gift that keeps on giving for him. But I do notice, or I feel like he's a little bit reserved when he does reflect on it. Do you know why that might be?
When he reflects on Mick Dundee?
Yeah.
I found that really interesting too, Glenn, because when we interviewed Hoag's for Love of an Icon, his happy place was in the room that we've set up, one of the bedrooms in this house that we've got as a production office. We set up as Paul Hogan room.
Yeah.
And we could barely get him out of there.
We knocked down the hole.
And it's his happy place, isn't it?
And he would just keep returning to the characters, particularly like Nigel Lovelace, aged 11. It was based on his son, you know, and he would go, we'd keep talking about his characters, but it was very interesting.
Yeah, and he says that because there's a lot of instant gratification in doing television, and a lot of those sketches were live, not a lot, but got them alive. So you could tell when an audience got the joke, and then you feed off that, and there's this great, you know, energy in the room as a result of that. But with filming, you have to wait quite a while.
Yep.
And it doesn't give him the same satisfaction, I guess. And also, you know, he could get around as Paul Hogan overseas, and once he became Mick Dundee, as he said in the doco, that people thought it was a real person. So he lost so much of his freedom and anonymity. Then that robs him of the ability to move freely, but also be the observer.
Yeah.
Which all writers have to have.
Yes, and I guess too, just like sitting down in the spotlight removes an element of spontaneity that he can't just sort of, you know, recall. But I did find, like, you know, as you wrapped up towards the end of maybe an interview, it came out like at the end, like, you know, his personality really came to the surface as he sort of, you know, slowed down and the cameras were winding. You know what I mean? Like it's very interesting.
I tried to capture him candidly because you know, obviously, as you just said, if there's a camera on you, you behaved differently. You know, you behave differently when you know someone's watching you.
Yep. Yeah.
Even if it's not a camera, you know what? And so times it by a camera, and it's a huge magnification of scrutiny.
100%.
And so to get him to just be Hoags, my old mate Hoags, such a joy.
Yes.
Not very seen, not seen at all, really.
Yeah.
To the general public, and that to me is worthy of showing.
And the public, I speak for them. We feel like you're friends, so it's lovely to see as well. For sure.
That's great.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful. That's beautiful that you say that and you can feel that, because, you know, to have the honour also to work with Delvene and Hoags and John, you know, there it's the honour is incredible, and that's always something that struck me right from beginning to work with them. The three of them, the chemistry, it's just magic. It's magic, and you can't, you know, how do you put that into some tangible thing? And it's just such a beautiful thing that Delvene was so generous with her story, really, particularly Love of an Icon, to share that, because that, you know, how else do you start to define what the magic elements are of a film like Crocodile Dundee?
That is right.
Why it jumped out the screen the way it did. It's very special. It's 40 years is a long time for people to still love a film as much as they do.
For sure.
It's very special.
What are your favorite moments from the film? Like, just as when you watched it over and over to do this, do you have any favorite moments in there that maybe we don't think are as special as you do?
I do. My favorite moment is when he's at the Echo Lake when they're going for the first kiss, and it's so beautiful, and particularly with inspiration, because you can see every bead of sweat on his back, and he's so handsome and she's so beautiful, and you're gonna get this lovely kiss, and then, you know, she just says, "Come back with me" or something, and he's like, "Mate, I thought you were going to make a pass at me." And it's such a terrific codes. We do it all the time. Like, if something happens, we're like, "Oh."
What about you, Delvene? Is there anything in there that, you know, just you love?
I just love the shot of Linda running down the street in that red dress.
Oh, yes.
Taking off her shoes, and, you know, the urgency in that. And I think there's an enormous amount of desire that's absolutely palpable. And I take my hat off to Linda for pulling that off, really, because it's not easy to play opposite Paul Hogan. He's a very large presence.
Yeah.
Rightly so. And for her to not really even understand any Australians, let alone one that is Paul Hogan,
Yeah.
who then becomes Mick Dundee. You know, she rode that wave really well.
Yeah.
I think she deserves accolades, which is why we wanted to interview her, because when we reached out, you know, she said that she sees herself written about, and hears herself talked about all the time, but nobody ever asks her.
Mm-hmm.
Never asks her.
Yeah.
It's like, well, we're asking you, like, and she was funny and engaging and honest and, you know, considerate of all of the water that's gone under the bridge.
Yeah.
But still gracious and willing. And I really, I'm so grateful that we had that reconnection.
Yeah, it was great to see her back on the screen. I think people are going to react the same way, like the fact that you know, people do think, well, there's so much water under the bridge, as you say, that maybe there'd be reluctance for her to come back, but there wasn't. Like, she was just a wonderful presence.
Yeah, no, they're mates.
Yep.
And that's a testament to both of them.
Yeah, good.
And you have to expect a lot of water under a very long bridge, which is.
Well, if I can just share my favourite moment, it's definitely when Walter's asking Mick if he got any action in the bush, and Mick said, got wind wall.
That is so funny.
We were actually looking at some stills the other day, because in the archiving process, we found the entire collection of stills from Crop 1.
Yeah.
And the stories in the frames, you know, in the proof sheets, you can see it's like, but then we also found the colour transparencies. And this is the thing about the archive too. There was every single media format over the last 40 years you can possibly imagine. But the transparencies, when we had those digitised, and we were going through and making a new selection of marketing images that we're going to release, because, you know, obviously we've all seen the same images for many years. So there's these new ones, and one of the shots is Linda running in the red dress, which is
it's gorgeous,
extraordinary.
Mm-hmm.
One of Wog. And then there's not doing that, and one where he's sort of almost, and we were like, oh no, definitely the one where he's doing that. It's just it's so great, you know, and it's
no dialogue needed.
No.
Just watching a consummate Australian actor do his thing.
One of the best. So good.
When we had the Moonlight Cinema screening in January, which was had been a dream of ours. Well, you know, wasn't it? Like 5 years ago, we sort of sat there and thought, imagine if we could honour Paul Hogan in front of the Harbour Bridge. It was like this incredible full circle moment that evening.
Mm-hmm.
And under the stars and watching the film in its absolute beauty, with the Sydney Harbour Bridge behind it and Paul sitting there with us. And the audience were cacking themselves.
Yeah,
they were all laughing. They were all applauding. There was a lot of kids in the audience, a lot of younger members of the audience. They were picking up on it and just laughing where they would. It was like, oh, it still works.
I raised my kids on this movie. Like, they reacted when they were little. They reacted that way. Like, they were in hysterics. You know, when Mick looks at Walter's watch and then looks at the sun. You know, that stuff. They love the shaving. Like, they loved that. You know, so it's full of those sight gags, and it, like I said before, it crosses generations.
Yeah. We actually had to do a big session with Croc 2 as well, because Crocodile Dundee 2 has also been restored. And it's not having a theatrical release in Australia, but when we were finishing the grade of that, you know, it's a longer film. It's a 2-hour film, Croc 2.
Mm.
And, you know, but there's some gags in that too that you just, it's like, this is really funny. Like, it really extends the humour. It's quite a different script. It's quite a different tone, but the gags are just hysterical.
Yeah, and even while I'm watching the old Paul Hogan shows, I think sight gags are Paul's forte.
Yes, for sure.
He pulls them off really well, effortlessly.
I mean, Leo Wanker, like, hello. The ultimate, it's been replicated by so many people, but, you know, he's the one that originated that.
Yeah.
Yes. There's not much that I could use today. Oh my God, no, you can't do that. Can't put kids in handcuffs.
Wow. Well, I'm really glad that you mentioned part 2 being restored, because I was going to ask you if that was going to happen. So I'm very happy that it is. So what I might ask in place of that is the other one that they made together was Almost an Angel. And that's almost a forgotten film in Australia. Do you think that'll ever see the light of day again?
No.
No, you weren't supposed to answer that like that. I would love to see that one, but it's slipped through the cracks of time.
Yeah.
Okay, leave it at that. Fair enough. Last question for you. Actually, no, two more. One first would be, we got teased a few years ago with that tourism campaign that there might be a son of Crocodile Dundee. Has there been discussions about reinventing it?
There's always people around who want to reversion Crocodile Dundee, just the same as they want to reversion every other successful film.
Yes.
But nobody else could play Mick Dundee.
Yep.
And that was apparent. And I think that it should just I think we should let it be what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, Paul's got no intention of making Grandad Dundee. He's 85 and it is what it is.
Yeah.
If an idea came for a reversioning, well, obviously you consider everything that crosses your path. But I would say at this point it would be unlikely.
Yep. Well, that's good news, I think.
Yeah, I reckon it's...
I'm on your side there. I'm against rehashing these things. Just let them be. They are legacies. Move on and do new things. But my final question, Delvene, is for you. If you had to summarize your life with these two amazing blokes, what few words would you use to sum it up?
Lucky, funny, loving.
Brilliant. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Sent chills down my spine.
A few three, couples two.
I think 3 words is you couldn't put it into any less, could you?
No, I couldn't put it into any less. It's been amazing. I've had an extraordinary. I'm extremely grateful. And this is, Love of an Icon was kind of like an opportunity to repay that, to honour everybody, particularly John, who was always in the background and so low key and shunned the limelight, but he did so much and made such a difference. I felt compelled to do it, and Hoag's applauded that. Absolutely on board. His soulmate, and so I feel like I've kind of not paid a debt, but balanced out in return.
Absolutely. Thank you both so much for spending time to chat about this, and thank you for making sure this film lives on. It's just wonderful stuff, and couldn't appreciate you more.
Thank you so much for that, Glenn. It's been a pleasure to speak with you, with your lovely enthusiasm and positivity. Thank you. Much appreciated.
1992. Australia removes the 1 and 2 cent coins from circulation. Frustration ensues as the price of Choquito bars remain at 79 cents.
Before we jump into this, Ben, I should also add that Crocodile Dundee 2 is coming out in July as well on 4K and Blu-ray. So
can't wait for that.
1 and 2 are getting the treatment.
I love number 2 as well.
It is great. And as you saw in the interview, like, they were reminded how good it was. Like, because you kind of, time goes by and you forget. Like, you're like, okay, that was just, trying to capitalize on part 1. But it was actually a decent movie. Captured the production, the aesthetic. It was,
The thing of it is, much more so, I think, much more so than, like, Superman, which was clearly one movie that they just split in 2 for whatever stupid reason.
Drinking game in this, I think. How many times have you brought that up?
It really bothers me.
I know.
It bothers me that people say it's a good movie, and I'm like, it's not. It's half a movie.
And the director's cut, he has like different haircuts in the same scene.
And they fired him in the second one. Yeah. He didn't even get to finish it. Anyway, but these two, Crocodile Dundee 1 and 2, continue, like, they join together so well.
And if anything, number 2 is a more personal film because John Cornell directed it.
Yeah.
He didn't direct the first one. We just won't talk about number 3, eh?
Yeah.
Do you remember the campaign a few years ago, The Son of Dundee? It had Danny McBride as the son of Crocodile.
Yeah.
I wanted that movie to happen.
Yeah.
I wanted
that would have been great
for sure.
But then didn't the actual guy it was based on die in like a standoff against police?
Yeah,
so,
but
in like real life. And
yeah, but it's like when they say based on so fucking loosely, like it really wasn't. Like it was an original character that they just took a little bit of influence from, but. Anyway, let's move on. We're up to the segment where we talk about the year that was 1992. We're still in the good run of years.
I think this is the year I started high school. I think 1992.
Yeah, I reckon you could be right. Hang on. Yes, because I got suspended for peddling Reservoir Dogs. Although that might have been the next year because it would have been home video.
Because, we didn't get it in 92.
Yeah.
I didn't actually watch it until...
Theatrically we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't see it. I didn't see Reservoir Dogs until Pulp Fiction came out.
Okay.
I watched them. I watched Natural Born Killers, Reservoir Dogs, and Pulp Fiction all in the same day, all at a mate's house because his parents would let us watch R-rated movies.
And how amazing was it at that age to be discovering Quentin Tarantino?
Yeah.
Like, it was something... It was groundbreaking. Like, it really shaped the dynamics of cinema.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it can't be understated. Kids of today, they just don't comprehend. They can't comprehend possibly like the dynamic shift when he came along.
No.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just him too. It was like Kevin Smith.
Oh yeah.
At the same time,
for sure, but
Richard
like,
Linklater.
For sure.
It was that independent American independent. Steven Soderbergh had just a couple of years before with Sex, Lies, and Videotape.
Point of difference being that Tarantino was ultra violent. Like he was the one that brought that John Woo style of violence into Australia.
Well, that's
into the Western world.
He was the one that took the independent sensibilities to a mainstream audience.
Yeah.
All the others had just flirted with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's the one that he thrived. None of the others, they've all fallen by the wayside.
Yeah,
pretty much. Linklater's still going.
Yeah.
He's doing all right.
No, yeah, and I mean Kevin Smith is still going.
He's still going.
Making money. He did that movie, the 4:30 movie last year, which was quite lovely. It's a biographical film about him discovering cinema, and he all filmed it at his own cinema, the Smodcast Cinema.
Yeah,
and
right.
it's set in the 80s. It's these boys. One of them wants to be a filmmaker, and they just get up to all kinds of mischief in the cinema. It's wonderful.
Is there a pussy troll in it? Then I'm not watching it.
Anyway, I just want to start off with one because Glengarry Glen Ross got released this year, and James Foley passed away last week. So, sad news there. Let's go through some movies. We'll go through the top 10.
Yeah, let's do the top 10.
All right, so number 10, we've got Wayne's World. Number 9, we've got Bram Stoker's Dracula. Number 8, we've got Sister Act. 7 is A Few Good Men. 6 is Batman Returns. Number 5, Lethal Weapon 3. Number 4, Basic Instinct. Number 3, Home Alone 2. Number 2, The Bodyguard. And number 1 was Aladdin.
Aladdin beat The Bodyguard.
Disney taking out the top spot there. Back when Disney were good. This was like, wasn't this the Renaissance era? Is that what they called it for Disney? I think it was.
It was their animation department. I mean, I think
that's the official term, is the Renaissance era, when you're talking about like from Little Mermaid through to...
Yeah, because Little Mermaid was the last, is it 1991?
Little Mermaid was like 89, I think.
Was it?
I think it's an 89. Look it up, you got a computer there. Making me do some work. But Aladdin, I remember seeing, I think I saw that 3 times. That was like, it was different for a Disney cartoon. Like it was really ahead of its time with Robin Williams.
1989.
There you go. There was something in between. It was probably Beauty and the Beast or something like that. So
I think we
91.
Yeah,
that was last week. Anyway, so look, an interesting top 10. I mean, there are much better movies in the rest of the year. Let's go through some. I've got down Cuffs, The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, Free Jack, Hurricane Smith, Final Analysis, Medicine Man.
I can almost pick up right from where you.
Because we've written them down in the year they've been released.
But no, I was a lot more selective this time.
Okay.
Around.
Yeah.
Stop or My Mum Will Shoot.
Yeah, very selective there.
The Gate 2.
Yep.
My Cousin Vinny.
Okay.
Shakes the Clown.
Yes.
And a personal favourite of mine, The Cutting Edge.
Oh, amazing. I almost forgot about Blame It on the Bellboy. Do you remember that?
Brian Brown's in that movie.
Yeah. And
Bronson Pinchot.
Yeah, that's right.
Patsy Kensit. Remember Patsy Kensit?
Yes.
Patsy Kensit.
Yeah. Speaking of Lethal Weapon, but she was in part 2, wasn't she?
Yes, she's in part 2,
right. Yeah. Lawnmower Man, Meatballs 4, Howard's End, Shadows and Fog, the Woody Allen film, Power of One, Ladybugs.
With Rodney Dangerfield and Jonathan Brandis, right?
The amount of times you've been suppressing a yawn is hilarious. I should zoom in on it.
No, it's gas from
the gas coming up.
It's gas from the Coke, from the Q Cola.
Hey, don't reveal my secrets. I'm a cheapskate, okay? I mix mine with Kahlua to make it okay.
What else we got? White Men Can't Jump, Thunderheart, The Player. He had 2 movies, Altman, didn't he? Bob Roberts as well came out that year.
Mm-hmm. Bob Roberts wasn't him. That was Tim Robbins directed that.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I don't know. In my head, I always thought it was Altman.
Yeah, very similar films.
Night on Earth, the Jim Jarmusch movie.
Uh-huh.
Poison Ivy.
Oh, how good was Poison Ivy back in the day?
Yeah.
Felt so naughty watching it. And it had like Sarah Gilbert before we knew she was a lesbian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in that film, she kind
of is, isn't she, that one? But she was just that chick from Roseanne at the time.
It's hard to think, though, that when you watch Poison Ivy, though, it's incredibly tame compared to Basic Instinct, which came out that year as well.
What was the teen version?
Yeah.
It was the teen version. Far and Away, did you say that? Encino Man, Patriot Games, Waxwork 2, Boomerang.
Yeah.
There's so many. We could do this for hours.
A League of Their Own, Cool World, Mo Money. Do you remember because of the Luther Vandross, was it Janet Jackson?
Yeah.
That song was everywhere.
It was.
I think that song was bigger than the film.
And the music video.
Rapid Fire.
Oh, yeah. Rapid Fire. Hell yes.
Powers Booth and Brandon Lee.
Why is that relevant right now? That was directed by someone that's relevant to what I do. Have I interviewed him? Hang on a second. Let's look it up. Rapid Fire. People probably have the answer before I do. Dwight Little. We've got an interview coming up that concerns Dwight Little, of course. Anyway, what else we got? Of course, Candyman, Under Siege, River Runs Through It, Of Mice and Men, Mr. Baseball, Crying Game.
Honeymoon in Vegas, Last of the Mohicans, Captain Ron, Sneakers, Hellraiser 3, Dr. Giggles.
Mate.
Spotswood.
Let's go into the Aussie stuff. So you had Blinky Bill, you had Bloodlust, Clowning Around when it was a movie, Garbo, Romper Stomper, Secrets. Remember Secrets? Oh, I've got that somewhere around here. I love that one. Strictly Ballroom and Turtle Beach.
Wow.
Turtle Beach was a good one. I watched that about a year ago. Holds up very well.
I've never seen Turtle Beach. I remember wanting to see it because Greta Skarkey,
Joan Chen,
and Joan Chen were in it. But then I think I just fast forwarded it for the nudity, and I don't know if there was. It was one of those because it was on VHS. I would just stop, fast forward for a minute, and then play.
Yeah.
Nothing. Fast forward. Nothing.
Not a single turtle in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so there we go. That's a huge year. Singles was in there as well. Fortress. Yeah, it's massive.
Passion Fish.
I'm just trying to cover as many as Brody might be concerned about.
Yeah,
as I can.
Bad Lieutenant.
Yeah, I was about to say Bad Lieutenant. Malcolm X, which I just Vivision revealed last week, is getting a release.
A 4K release. Yeah. Trespass. What a banger.
Did you say Passenger 57? Jennifer 8? Yep. There we go.
Stay tuned and Mum and Dad Save the World.
I know. So let's do the whole thing.
Encino Man.
Let's do the thing where we predict what each other might have guessed. So I'm gonna level with you though. I can't pick one. But if you can pick like at least one that I could say, yeah, that's definitely something I would. Because I could look at this and go, okay, maybe.
Well, see,
actually, no, I've got one.
I pick ones that are for you. I pick ones that are everyone else thinks is shit.
Oh, fucking hell.
Free Jack.
Let's just also say Out on a Limb and Captain Ron.
Fucking
okay.
Yeah.
No, they're not it. No, I actually have a couple.
Hang on, I'm still picking here.
All right.
So Free Jack, The Gate 2.
Yeah, I mean, in hindsight, yes, but it's not one at the time.
Hellraiser 3.
It's not one at the time. That was a close contender.
So
I'm picking them because of that year. I thrashed them. I watched them on repeat.
A Few Good Men.
No.
Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Oh, that's a contender. Maybe that's number 3.
White Man Can't Jump.
No. Didn't like that one.
Didn't like it.
Never really have.
Billy! Best.
No, try Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me.
Right.
Definitely. There's a movie called Swoon that was made in 1992 that was based on the Leopold and Loeb murders, which in turn Alfred Hitchcock's Rope was based on.
Right.
That's a fantastic... it's now considered queer cinema, but it wasn't really. Just because they happen to be lovers in real life, you know.
Yeah.
But it's a great serial killer, or not serial killer, like thrill kill movie. Came out around the time California came out, and it's one of those. And then on top of that, I would possibly throw into the ring... May have to reconsider later, but Sneakers.
Yeah, I mean, look, and neither of us have, and I don't think the Boneheads don't mention it either, but none of us have actually said Reservoir Dogs, but it's clearly, it's up there.
Well, yeah, that would be number one, simply because I've got a history with it.
Yeah. Yeah. You're a pirate of it.
And so I would guess for you,
yeah.
I think I've got the wrong year written down for guesses. So let me just go through the list and say, is Raising Cain one of them?
No, Raising Cain is in my list of movies from this year that I haven't seen.
Okay, what about Universal Soldier?
It's also on that list.
Okay. Man, that's a franchise I want to watch with you.
I haven't seen a single one.
Wow. Okay, how about... let's go with... It's not Innocent Blood.
No, it is not.
Mr. Saturday Night Live or Mr. Saturday Night?
What a great film. It's probably up until that point the most successful aging of prosthetic effects.
Another drinking game, people. What about... I am going to say Alien 3.
No, not at all.
All right. K2, folks?
No.
All right, just tell me.
For me, Sneakers.
Oh, okay.
Sneakers is the one I'm with honourable mentions for The Cutting Edge, Under Siege, Far and Away, which I love.
That pot scene when she lifts the pot.
It's all about Tom Cruise's cock, and Wayne's World.
Wayne's World. Man, that's a good year.
Sneakers is Phil Alden Robinson.
Yeah, I know, and that's the funny thing. Like, it's funny that we both picked that as like one of the best. It was, to me, it was really ahead of its time, and obviously you watch it in retrospect. It's like it's so poorly dated with the tech, but it's still a fun movie. And that's the problem with it, is because the tech is so outdated. You watch it now and you just laugh at it when you don't, when you shouldn't.
I still love it. Love it.
It is still good. It's still good. Sidney Poitier, was it River Phoenix, Dan Aykroyd?
Yeah.
What a cast. Is it
David Strathairn?
Tom Berenger?
No.
No, who's the... Oh, who is it? God damn it.
Who's it? Robert Redford, Sidney Poitier, Dan Aykroyd, Ben Kingsley, Mary McDonnell, who's also in Passion Fish that year, River Phoenix.
Robert Redford's what I'm thinking.
Robert Redford's the lead. Yeah. David Strathairn. And then, of course, Timothy Busfield and Eddie Jones, both of whom are in... Timothy Busfield's in Field of Dreams.
Is in Birds of Paradise.
And Birds of Paradise,
Revenge of the Nerds.
And, but Phil Alden Robinson also directed Field of Dreams.
Yeah, of course.
But Eddie Jones is in A League of Their Own, which also came out that year, as the dad of Marla in A League of Their Own.
Stephen Tobolowsky's in there.
Yeah.
He's the guy that she tricks into the date, like to get his key card or whatever.
Yeah. And Donald Logue, very young Donald Logue.
Mate, it's such a good Donald Logue. Far out and look at it now. Oh, Bodie Elfman's in there.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Okay. Oh, Jeff Daniel Phillips. He played Herman Munster in the Rob Zombie's Munsters. Wow. Okay.
Oh yeah, he's the guy from he's in 31 and stuff as well. Yeah.
Cool. Everyone, that is a recommendation. Go and watch Sneakers. Has that had a Blu-ray release?
I'm sure it has. It must have.
And didn't Phil Alden Robinson do The Sum of All Fears?
I don't know. He did a lot of he did the pilot. I know he did the pilot of what's the Tom Hanks?
We're just geeking out right now.
What's the Tom Hanks? Not Across the Pacific, the original one.
Oh, the
Band of Brothers.
Band of Brothers.
Band of Brothers. He did Band of Brothers.
Yeah. He did Sum of All Fears. So he's done a Jack Ryan movie.
I really like Sum of All Fears.
I do
really
too.
rate it.
It is it's like, I thought, yes, Jack Ryan's back. And I love that they made Ben Affleck Jack Ryan, because to me it said, okay, we're kind of recalibrating. There's more stories to be told. And no, it sank. Like that when the blast goes off, the atomic bomb or whatever.
Yeah.
That is just a magnificent piece of cinema.
I just love the part where they're on the plane and he's trying to explain to Kathy Ryan why he can't, they're supposed to go on a date and he can't do it. And Morgan Freeman's just like, no, tell her what you do. And he tells her and she just hangs up on him. And they all piss themselves laughing.
Morgan Freeman's character is the James Earl Jones character, yeah?
No, he's Cabot. He's a different. He's the he's a deputy director of the CIA at the time. He's a different character. Yeah.
Anyway, there's a whole other conversation to be had.
He kind of. I don't know if he's in Sum of All Fears in the chronology. He might come in after Greer.
Okay.
Because James Earl Jones is Rear Admiral.
Yeah.
Vice Admiral.
What's your favorite Jack Ryan movie? I think I know the answer. Hunt for Red October.
Yeah. Look, it's a pretty. Yeah, look, it's closer than it should be with Sum of All Fears, but it would be Hunt for Red October.
I do that's my favorite. I do have a soft spot for Patriot Games.
Yeah, the only one I didn't really like was
Chris Pine one.
No, I mean that's not great. There's probably that one.
Clear and Present Danger.
But Clear and Present Danger is the one that.
That's the weird thing is that in Clear and Present Danger, doesn't Liev Schreiber's character also appear in Sum of All Fears? Like Liev Schreiber playing the same character? Yeah. That's what's weird about it.
Well, because he kind of takes over in the
books.
In the books, because Jack Ryan actually becomes president.
Yeah, I know.
Because it's like a King Ralph scenario where everyone gets killed, and he's like the highest ranking person left.
Did we leave King Ralph off a list? When is that? That's 91. We missed it last week.
We did it, yeah.
Anyway, let's move on. we can
just talk about that
forever.
Welcome to Bonehead Weekly Fun Size, and this week we're tackling 1992. I want to go with a dark horse on this one, guys, but truthfully, it's one of the best westerns ever made, Unforgiven. It didn't make much sense to me when I saw it. I thought that's good when I saw it when I was a kid, and now as an adult, I quote it all the time. And the older I get, the more I quote, deserves got nothing to do with it. I don't deserve this. Deserves got nothing to do with it. And it works so many levels in life, throughout everyone's life as an adult. Yeah, you don't deserve to get X, and you don't deserve to get Y, and things should go better for you. But gentlemen, deserve has got nothing to do with it.
I'm going to go with one that is a little bit lesser known, but it's so present in pop culture. If you know where to look for it, it's been parodied everywhere from The Simpsons. Saturday Night Live did it. Actually, Saturday Night Live did it with the actor from the movie. I just want you to know, Joe, that Coffee's for Closer. Glengarry Glen Ross.
Oh, it's so good.
Is just a man. It's hard not to watch it, and the behind the scenes story. On the days certain actors weren't performing, they would still show up to set because everybody wanted to see everybody else perform.
Yeah.
And when you can get people just to show up that don't have to show up, that are professionals just to watch what you do, and the fact that seemed to be a story among the entire cast, which is a phenomenal cast. I mean,
Murder, I hate saying it, it's a cliche, but Murderer's Row.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple people we're not supposed to talk about anymore, but Jonathan Pryce.
Kevin Spacey's a great actor.
And Alec Baldwin got nominated for what amount of time?
Well, he's not even in the play. That character's not in the play. Mamet wrote it just for the movie.
And Alec Baldwin nails it. Yes, Glengarry Glen Ross. There's my pick.
So before we recorded, Joe said that he said there was a lot of stinkers in 1992, but there was a lot of great films in 1992. And I struggled with this until I saw this one movie that I forgot came out in 1992. And I mean, hands down, on top of every great movie that came out in 1992, I got to go with Diggstown.
Oh, you're right.
It's a good movie.
It is one of my. It's still one of my favorite movies. Lou Gossett Jr., James Wood
wasn't a success.
The amazing Oliver Platt. Yeah. I mean, it's just.
Can you hit him? My hands broke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never con man.
It's a good movie that nobody remembers. That's another one that's a lost classic film.
Yeah, that made me a lifelong fan of James Wood. I liked him in some other stuff, but James Wood's in that movie is just so.
Yeah. And Lou Gossett Jr. I mean, they play so well off one another in this film.
Honey Roy Palmer.
Yeah, and it's only like an hour and a half, but it's an hour and a half of pure fun. And it's still
with weight. It's got weight behind it. The scene with James Wood sitting next to Charles Macomb Diggs, played by Vigo.
James Wood, you mean Lou Gossett Jr.?
Him too.
Yeah, no, but isn't it Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's Lou Gossett Jr., but where it's that at the realization that he never really had a shot and that he was robbed of everything. Yeah.
Yeah. So that had to be my pick, guys. Diggstown, one of the best movies I have, still in my top, probably my top 20.
Oh yeah, you're absolutely right, Chad. You win.
Yep. This has been Bonehead Weekly Fun Size.
Thank you, Boneheads. Thank you, Boneheads. Somewhere amongst all of that drivel that we were going through, we
Totally.
forgot to mention Unforgiven.
Totally missed Unforgiven. But until Chad mentioned it, I'd never even heard of Diggstown.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either. I knew the poster when I saw it, but maybe it had a different title. I don't know, but
yeah, it sounds great. I'm gonna have to check it out. It's definitely it's going on my list. The other title that I don't think we mentioned that is on, or there's two that are on my list of movies that I haven't seen that I'm embarrassed to admit.
Yeah,
Hand That Rocks the Cradle, which had come up earlier. I think earlier this year or late last year, and I had meant to go and see it, and I still haven't got around to it.
Yeah,
but Delicatessen is the other one.
It's so good.
I keep buying it. And then I'm like, I've got I'll get the 4K. I'll watch the 4K. When I get the 4K, I'll watch the 4K.
So what's his name? Jean Genot, or something.
Jean-Pierre Junot and Marc Caro.
So the first movie I saw of theirs was City of Lost Children. And I saw it in a little grindhouse cinema in Vancouver, which on Granville Street, if you're from Vancouver, you'll know the one I mean. It's like a little porn cinema, but they played art house films. And I went and saw City of Lost Children there and was obsessed with just what I was looking at. And Delicatessen was the chaser. So I went back when they screened that next.
Because what was it, Kronos first?
Kronos, which I caught back in Australia on SBS.
Yeah.
Taped that off the TV. And I watched that a lot. And I was and maybe I had seen that first before I went to Canada, but never just processed who it was, and it didn't really mean much to me.
Because what was it?
But that's Guillermo del Toro, so that's a different director.
It's different. It's just okay. That's just Bellman's in it.
Yeah, and a similar kind of movie. Imagine.
So it's Delicatessen, City of Lost Children.
Yep.
And then
after that, I think it was Alien, and then Amelie, I think, or was it vice versa?
No, because Amelie was the big one that got them all the other opportunities.
Okay, so Alien Resurrection 97. How do you spell Amelie? 2001. Yeah. So Alien came first.
Really?
Yeah.
That's bizarre.
Well,
then Amelie, and then Very Long Engagement, which is actually my favorite.
Because Amelie, I think he had he'd fallen out of favor with Hollywood.
He split up. That was Junot by himself. It wasn't Marc Caro.
That's right.
Because Marc Caro was the one who did the weird.
But also, Alien was not well received, and so he went back to France to
But I think also it wasn't so much that it wasn't well received. I think there was a lot of producer interference.
Oh yeah, for sure. But you talk, for a period of time, you talk to everyone. They hated this movie for some reason.
Yeah.
Now, in hindsight, over time, it's appreciated. I guess.
Yeah.
It's an interesting film. By the way, Junot has been a guest on this show. Let's just say that. He's, go back a couple of years and you can listen to an interview about Amelie with him. And it's a.
I actually went when I was in.
It's a difficult one to listen to because he's broken English is not
his English. When I was in Paris a couple of years ago, I went to the
cafe.
Tracked down a couple of the Amelie locations.
Great.
Only because Bingo Crapuscule in the Very Long Engagement is just inaccessible, and I don't know if it ever really existed.
Great filmmaker. Like he's still making movies. The last one he did was called Big Bug, which was a Netflix film.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't catch that one, but the one before it was the young and prodigious T.S. Spivet.
Yeah.
I like that, and Micmacs before it. So he's still making some interesting movies. So
I did see Micmacs. That's a movie about arms dealers.
Yeah, weren't they little people?
Well, they're weirdos who live in the.
Yeah, that's right. The junkyard or whatever.
Yeah. But one guy, he makes guns or something. He's from memory.
Speaking of guns, let's do a movie battle.
That's the best segue ever.
All right, so you chose this one. Explain yourself.
I did. So Phantom Tollbooth versus Tron. These are both movies where people go into fantasy realms, shall we say.
I found it a really odd pairing, right? I really did. I've seen Tron that many times, I didn't bother revisiting, but Phantom Tollbooth I hadn't seen since I was basically infant, so it was kind of like a fresh... I mean, I thought maybe Phantom Tollbooth is better paired with Page Master or something like that.
Yeah, possibly.
But this is an interesting one all the same, because the answer for me is Tron. Tron wins hands down, right? But Phantom Tollbooth is such an interesting and, in a way, ahead of its time movie.
Yeah, definitely. And look, I think the problem with them going head to head is that Tron is easier to appreciate when you're older, whereas Phantom Tollbooth is definitely a product of, you got to be like 5 or 6
and
7
and
to
the
kind of.
technology they used back then had been done. Mary Poppins had been done with like Bedknobs and Broomsticks, like the whole crossover with live action animation. So and it was who animated? Was it Hanna-Barbera?
Chuck Jones.
Chuck Jones, that's right. From Looney Tunes.
From Looney Tunes, yeah.
And
he just won an Oscar for Best Short.
Mel Blanc is one of the voices.
Those are the voices, yeah.
Look, it is a wonderful children's movie. I don't think kids of today would really take to it.
And it's Butch Patrick is the kid
I know.
from the Munsters.
I know.
In the live action part, because he gets this, because it's based on a book, and he gets this, and it's one of those things that, like, there's, the thing that makes, where you would I would prefer, like, American Tail, Five Goes West, or any of those other ones, is that they're just adventure stories. This one tries to put a bit more learning stuff in it, which I don't appreciate. Like, let's keep that stuff in the subtext.
For me,
let's not make it the text.
The first act, and even more slim, go just the first scene where he sort of live action and discovers the Phantom Tollbooth. That's the best stuff in the movie for me.
Yeah.
And when he first enters it and he's in a little toy car and he drives through it and back and forward and back and he goes from live action to cartoon. That's wonderful. And I think he acts it really well.
Yeah.
But when it turns to cartoon, it's really laborious. I find it was a real struggle to get through. I tuned out a bit, came back to it.
Yeah. It's definitely meant for a generation with a longer attention span than now. Like, it is quite difficult to watch. But that was because all those live action scenes were directed by this guy, Dave Monahan. And then all the animation stuff was Chuck Jones and Abe Levitow, I think his name is. And Chuck Jones had just won the Oscar for Best Short.
Yeah.
And they kind of like, this is just like and it was also based on a novel by the same guy, the short. So it was like, this is just the natural progression. But yeah, whereas Tron, the funny thing, Tron is an interesting one anyway. Like, at the time, I remember Tron mainly from the game.
Yeah.
Like, the game was in all the arcades.
Sure.
And it was a thing. And then, then there was the Tron movie, which I don't know which order they kind of came out in.
I think the movie came first and the game.
And then the
was
game. Because like it is, it's like a Pong. It's like a real basic game. But they spiced it up by putting it in a booth.
Which, speaking of Pong, right? I didn't realize until recently, a couple of weeks ago, that on your phone, when you get like an emoji sent to you in a message in Messenger, if you tap the emoji, it turns into Pong, like a game in your phone, and you have to, like tennis, like you got to.
Really?
The emoji goes up and down your screen. You got to swivel and bounce it, and I'm like, this is amazing. We'll play it. After.
We're gonna have to show that one. I was this year's old before I knew that.
Yes.
I almost don't want to continue the show. But
I don't want to. You pull your phone out. Have you got? Oh, you probably don't have. Send yourself an emoji in a message or something.
Who's got?
If it's Messenger only, like.
Oh, it's Messenger.
Yeah. I'm sure I've sent you
there
an emoji.
You go.
Working for you? No, like it's got to just be a standalone emoji.
Is it? Oh, I see.
Well, you can send one in to yourself in that. Anyway.
Any emoji?
Yeah, just do a smiley face.
No, I've just loved, someone's passive aggressive message.
Make sure it's someone's message. Maybe pull up our chat and do it there. That's right. I'll show you afterwards. Trust me, it's fun.
Yep.
Should we move on to the next segment?
Let's just move on. There's a lot to talk about with Tron, but
Tron's got longevity. Part 3 is coming out very soon.
Yeah, I actually look. Despite everything that it had going against it, I quite liked Tron Legacy. Like, I really liked it.
I love Tron Legacy. The soundtrack's amazing. Daft Punk have their own little cameo in there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they do. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. It's a great movie, and I think number 3. I've seen the trailer. It looks like a massive evolution. It should be heaps of fun. So, I think Tron wins hands down.
It's just like I just think it could have gone wrong so easily.
Oh yeah.
But they
almost did with the de-aging. Almost did with the de-aging of Jeff Bridges.
Oh no, I thought they did a really good job.
Oh, they did at the time, but you watch it now and it's like it's not quite that But maybe
better than
maybe the Phantom Tollbooth will come out with a legacy sequel and like just completely cream it at the box office.
Yeah, as long as they don't have rhyme and reason in it, it'll be fine. Oh,
There you go. Move that thing at the bottom.
it's a breakout.
Now you've got something to do.
Yeah. Say goodbye to getting off the toilet in a hurry. You go, why does Ben keep sending me smiley faces at 4 o'clock in the morning?
That's right. Yeah, what you don't realise is every ping is like a message, an alert. Most elaborate one yet.
It's my favourite part of the show.
All right, rapid fire recommendations.
Let's do it.
All right, let me just say that I really had a turn of a week this week because I
Did you have a crown that had to be replaced, or did he throw you back out?
No,
because otherwise
I couldn't find a movie.
Yeah, right.
So I went through all these movies. I wanted to make sure that this recommendation was something that I either haven't seen before or was like a long time since I watched it. So I went looking for obscure stuff, right?
The real trouble with doing that,
Yeah.
and I do it too, is that what you watch could be a turd.
They all were. So
Yeah.
I went through like 4 or 5 movies. I got like 10, maybe the longest I got was half an hour, and I just switched them off. I'm like, I can't fucking do this.
What
And
were
they were Slaughter of the Innocent with Scott Glenn, which is like it came after 7. Or maybe just before. It's a serial killer movie. It's quite grotesque, but he's just not a good actor. I'm convinced he's not a good actor at all.
No, he's great.
He just happens to be in some good
Silverado?
He's in some good movies, but when he is the lead, he can't lead.
The Challenge?
Yeah. Anyway, and then there was the Pompatus of Love, which was the movie that John Cryer wrote back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Then there was Funland, which was like the amusement park one with the mob takes over the amusement park, but it's comical and it's like it just was not very good. And then there was Leave the World Behind, which was that Julia Roberts, Ethan Hawke one about the end of times.
Oh, yeah.
Which I enjoyed, but as I got to the end of it, I'm like, do I enjoy it enough to recommend?
Yeah.
Probably
Is it a
not.
good movie? Yeah, look,
It was okay. It was a good concept. I thought it was like War of the Worlds meets, I don't know, any one of these, Civil War, that kind of thing. So, in the end, I found The Long Game with Dennis Quaid. I think it was on Netflix, 2003. Jay Hernandez, Dennis Quaid, and Cheech Marin.
I do like Jay Hernandez.
This is the true story of, it's set in the 1960s, I think it is. So it's got that great sort of Stand By Me feel, like it's very timely. It's about a high school team of Spanish kids who start a golf team.
I have seen this.
Yeah, and the golf, the prestigious golf club won't allow them to play.
To play in the thing, yeah.
So they make their own little like DIY course off the side, and Jay Hernandez is their teacher who cottons onto what they're doing because he's not allowed to become a member of the club either because he's Hispanic.
Because I'm pretty sure, and the internet can prove me wrong.
Yeah,
but I'm pretty sure that in is it The Rookie, that one where Dennis Quaid finds he's got the arm.
Yep.
That Jay Hernandez is one of his students that when
really?
he first
that's awesome.
Throws the pitch.
That's very cool. This was a wonderful movie. Like I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I watched this. I watched this when it came out.
Yeah, so obviously they're battling against racism, prejudice, and just all kinds of things along the way. But it's a really great underdog story.
Yeah,
if you like an underdog sports movie, this is one to go for. Even if you don't like golf, like it's shot so well, it's written so well, and I've really become a fan of the director. I'm going to butcher his name here. Julio Quintana.
Julio Quintana.
So he did one that I liked a few years ago.
Me and Julio down by the schoolyard.
He did one a few years ago with Martin Sheen called The Vessel, which I really enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
And then he made one called Blue Miracle, which was also with Dennis Quaid, which was sort of more a similar movie, but a fishing movie, like an angling movie. And it's
a tough subject matter to make a movie
which
out
is
of.
probably why that one didn't really blow up. Well, this one didn't either. But I just find this guy's approach to storytelling very nice. Like you sit down on a Saturday when it's raining outside and you feel good about these movies.
Yeah. There's a similar movie that came out with Kevin Costner about a track and field team. long
Yes.
distance running.
What was that called?
I can't remember.
Neither can I.
But
there's a whole lot of these type of movies. And
Yeah.
Disney have done a lot of ones that have flown under the radar. Like $1 Million Arm is a good one.
Yeah.
Miracle? I can't remember the name of the other one. The one with the kid with Bruce Willis.
Yes.
Yeah, I like all these things.
It's a little kid.
Anyway, so there you go. The Long Game 2023. I think it's Netflix. Find it. It's great.
Great.
What about you?
Well, look, I've been choosing movies from the year that we're kind of doing, just because every time we go through the lists, I find something that I haven't seen.
Yeah.
And I like to rectify it. This year, I watched White Sands.
Oh, right.
Which I have never seen. We didn't mention it before, but it is a 1992 film. Directed by Aussie Roger Donaldson, who directed No Way Out and Cocktail and Species and Dante's Peak, among other things. Smash Palace, I think, was his first kind of big one. It stars Willem Dafoe, Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio.
Yep.
Mickey Rourke. Samuel L. Jackson pops up. M. Emmett Walsh is fucking hilarious in this.
Mate, he's so good.
James Reborn, Moira Tierney turns up. Miguel Sandoval, and Mimi Rogers has an uncredited cameo as his wife.
Yeah, right.
And it's basically
Fred Thompson's in there uncredited
Fred
too.
Thompson, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. He's one of the weapons kingpins.
Yeah, right.
So basically, Willem Dafoe's this small town sheriff, and he goes one morning. He kind of gets called out to to the middle of kind of the desert somewhere.
Yeah.
And there's where a guy has seemingly committed suicide, and he's got a bag with $500,000 or $5 million or whatever the amount of money is. And through the whole thing, M. Emmett Walsh is like the town kind of medical examiner.
Right.
And he's just giving him shit about his hat.
Yeah.
His wife bought him the hat, and he's just like, that's a terrible hat. And through the whole, but he's also going, he's like, we don't have to report this. We can just take the money. But he's kind of joking, but he's got this great little part. But basically, to try and find out what happened, William Dafoe decides to kind of take his identity and pretend to be that guy, and see what happens. See who wants who wants the money, or what the deal was. And he kind of basically gets involved in. There's like a CIA kind of cover up, and a DEA and a FBI. They're all kind of vying for the money, and half of them know he's the guy, half of them know he's not the guy.
It's a bed kind of movie.
It is like it's like a pretty good noir, or a daylight noir.
I noticed Roger
movie.
Donaldson made this in between Cadillac Man and The Getaway.
Yeah.
What a good run. And Cocktail before that. And then Species. And Dante. He had a great run.
He had a very, very good run.
Yeah. The Getaway reminds me, because that's what Alec Baldwin and Kim Basinger, or Basinger, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
Last week, I did also watch The Real McCoy.
All right.
Was that Russell Malfoy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen that since it got released.
Isn't that...
It's a pretty fun movie.
Which is that's the one where he comes out of prison and he finds... No, she's in it.
She's the cat burglar that gets released from prison and sucked back into the criminal world when she wants to go straight. Anyway, that's a digression, but...
Yeah. The Getaway is a remake of the...
Steve McQueen?
Yeah, the Sam Peckinpah.
Yeah.
Steve McQueen movie.
For sure.
And that's the one that notoriously... that Robert Evans sent Alan McGraw off to do.
Yeah, that's right.
Where
that was featured in the TV show
The Offer, yeah. And he goes down. He didn't they really do manipulate it in that series, because in the book he's like, there's a great line where he's like, when she comes back for some kind of the Oscars or something, and they're dancing, and he's like, she was dancing with me and thinking of Steve McQueen's cock. Which is great. But definitely worth checking out, White Sands.
Oh, wicked. Brings us to the end of the show. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you, Glenn.
Thank you, me. And goodmoviemonday.com. You know what to do. Click the bell on our YouTube. Get notified with all the videos when they drop, because there's quite a few of those. Thanks to Delvene Delaney and Victoria Baldock, because that was a fantastic chat. And everyone go and check out Crocodile Dundee at the cinemas. All right, till next week, Ben.
Till next week.
Bye.